Hi, everyone. My name is April, and I am the owner and founder of Mastermind Daycare. And I came up with this concept called magical moments. Now, for me, a magical moment is, any time during the day when you're mindful and there's a magical moment with a child where, they're having fun, they think of a new idea, they're creative, or maybe they're engaging in the curriculum and they just happen to really get an insight into, the lesson and what they're learning. So to me, that is a magical moment. So I'm going to be coming to you daily with my magical moments of the day. So today we were off from the daycare. At the time of this video, it's Veterans Day. So, I'm going to talk about the magical moment that I had with my son. So, my son is currently 7 years old in second grade. So, today we toured a few schools, and my magical moment was, prepping him and rehearsing with him for the questions that he may be asked. Now, this was not technically an interview for him, quote unquote, an interview, but I knew he would be asked questions. It was really more so for parents. So when we went, beforehand, I rehearsed with him. Of course, it's easy for the simple things. What's your name? How old are you? What grade are you in? And for the parents at home, these are things that we should be rehearsing all the time with our kids, so that when they do ask, when they are asked these questions, they're able to easily say them. Now, for the simple things, your name, your grade, your age, that's okay. But sometimes you might be asked, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite hobby? What do you like doing in your spare time? And you can't say, TV because, of course, they don't want to hear that. It's a school. So we rehearse, different things that he likes to do in his free time. So he is a Lego master. He loves Legos. So, that's one of his hobbies. So I said, Gabriel, when they ask you about what you want to do in your free time, talk a little bit about what you make at home with your Legos. So we rehearsed that. And I said, you can't just answer with one word, responses. You have to engage them and, say why. So if you like Legos, you have to say why you like Legos and, what you might build with the Legos. And that's something for you, you guys to keep in mind at home as well when you're rehearsing with your kids about, what you like to do in your spare time. And even though they may not be, interviewed, it's just things that kids get asked even in, their daily school day. So, what do you like to do in your spare time? What hobbies do you have? What sports do you like to do? So, in addition to Legos and building things, he also plays basketball. So we rehearsed that as well. Um, and I said, well, Gabriel, what sports do you like? So he said, Mom, I like basketball. So I said, okay, well, you know, when you answer that you like basketball, don't just say, basketball. Of course, you have to answer in a complete sentence. That's another thing. You have to answer in a complete sentence, and also don't just stop there. So when they ask you, what type of sports do you like to play, you can't just say basketball. So you have to say, I like to play basketball, and we rehearse that as well at home. And these are things where you think, you don't have to rehearse, but these aren't questions that kids get asked daily. So you don't want them to be caught off guard. So we rehearsed that, and I said, well, you can't just say, I like to play basketball. Say, why you like to play basketball. And he said, okay, mommy, why I like to dribble and I like bouncing the balls and I like making shots. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. So um, we rehearsed that, and I said, well, what's your favorite book? what books are you reading? What's your favorite book? And he said, well, mommy, I love Zeke the Alien. So I said, okay, well, make sure when you answer that, you answer in a complete sentence. So we rehearsed all these things, at home. And I think another magical moment is, kids will be kids and you can do all the rehearsing that you're going to do at home. But in reality, they're going to answer the way they want to answer. So we rehearsed um, his hobbies, which were the Legos. We rehearsed his sports, the basketball. We rehearsed the books. I said, what's your favorite color and why? Um, and I tried to cover, all the bases, but they always ask something that you didn't, practice at home. And you can do all the practicing that you want to practice, but there's always going to be those one or two questions. So the first tour went well. Um, we went there. I went with my mom and him. So we all got, a good idea of how the school would be. We met the students, our tour guide. And she did end up asking him some of the questions that we rehearsed. And it was not answered in a complete sentence. Some of them were one words, but he still did well, and I complimented him, that he did a good job because he still answered the questions, and that's the main focus. So I said, you did a great job answering those questions. Moving forward, let's just work on answering in a complete sentence. So when we went, I think they asked him what grade he was in. They asked him about his hobbies, what he liked doing. So when they asked him what grade he was in, he just said second. So that wasn't a complete sentence. When they asked him about his hobbies, I was there, so I kind of had to prompt him, you know, um, and just remind him a little bit about the hobbies. Even though we rehearsed in the heat of the moment, he was kind of thinking about it. Um, and it was a great tour. We saw the kids and in their classrooms and things. We got to see the gymnasium. He did say that he liked to play basketball, um, but that was also a one word response. So we're going to work on that part. And that's something, that all kids should work on, responding in complete sentences, because staff do, pay attention to that. And I just feel like even though it's casual conversations where, staff or teachers might be engaging with you or your child, I just feel like you're always being, tested. And they do pay attention to how you respond to their questions and, what your response may be. So, even though we did all that prep, when they asked him, what do you like to do in your spare time? The first thing he said was TV, and my heart sunk. I was thinking, oh no, not TV, because we do so many other things, but kids love watching TV and they love watching their shows, and you can't lie. So I just said, moving forward, don't say anything about screen time, don't mention TV, stick to, your Legos. He also is an animal lover and loves ocean creatures. He wants to be a marine biologist. So I said, stick to those type of things when they ask about your hobbies. Never ever state anything about TV. So we got lunch after the first tour, went to the second one. That one was a lot better. I think he had warmed up a little bit. So they again asked him, and again, this wasn't an interview, but during the tour, they asked questions. So they did ask him, his name, They asked what grade he was touring for, which he didn't understand. And just responded, I'm in second grade, which was fine. So again, some of the responses were again one word answers, and I guess they're used to that. But that's something we'll just work on at home. One question did catch him off guard. They said, "Okay, well, what did you like about the tour so far?" And I was like, "Oh, we didn't practice that one." So he thought about it for a minute, and his response was one of the classrooms that we went into that really intrigued him, and he answered with that. But that was something that we didn't practice, and you know, those type of things happen. So some of the times when I was, rehearsing with him, he did say, Mommy, I don't know. So I said, well, if you're asked anything during a tour and you don't know, that's okay. Just say, that's a good question. Give me a minute and let me think about that. That's okay to do. You're a child. You can take a moment and think about your response. You don't have to come up with something right away. So I said, instead of saying, I don't know if you're asked something, just say, that's a great question. Give me a second to think about that. And he did do that to me actually when I asked him something moving forward. So um, those are just some tips and tricks to practice with your kiddos at home. Because I think we should always be rehearsing and always be mindful of our children and how they respond to different questions and how they may respond to other people asking those questions. Because, of course, me asking him a question is different from a teacher asking him or, someone that he's meeting for the first time. But if they're constantly practicing those things at home, when they are asked, they'll, know the answers. And I think a big thing was rehearsing and saying why, like the why mattered. Because I think that helps the child stand out where, they're not just responding to the question. They're not just saying, oh, my favorite color is blue. They're saying, oh, my favorite color is blue because I love gazing up at the sky and looking at the blue sky and seeing airplanes in the blue sky. Or it just, I think that just helps them to stand out a little bit more than others. So saying that why, like why basketball is your favorite sport or why blue is your favorite color, or why you like to play with Legos, like you love building things, and talk about some of the things you built. So that was my magical moment of the day. And we're going to continue to practice those things, um, and just make it part of our day. I think that's something that we can all practice at home and make it fun. um, so sometimes I might have him ask me questions, and and I'm the child responding to them. So it gives him a chance to be in my shoes and or be in a teacher's shoes, asking the questions, and it gives him a chance to see what it might sound like when I respond, the way he may respond. So that's my magical moment for the day, and I hope that resonates with all of you. Thank you so much. Bye.